Sir, something has happened. We have found something.
What is it? What have you found? Is it the rebel fleet?
No, sir, it's a message.
How can this message be worth troubling me with?
It is a message that none of us can understand, and it's being broadcasted all over the destroyer.
Show me. I must take this to the Emperor at once. My lord.
What is it, Captain?
My lord, I...
Speak!
Something has happened. A message is being broadcast all over the destroyer.
A message?
Yes, my lord. However, it is a message that none aboard can decipher.
Show me.
My lord, what does it mean?
Spoilers ahead. Warning.
My lord?
I would grasp hold of the nearest railing, Captain. This is going to be a bumpy ride indeed.
For centuries, Alderaan stood as a beacon of hope in the Republic. The Empire came.
I have chosen to test this station's destructive power on your home planet of Alderaan.
Peace while you suffer. The Emperor drowns you in black waters.
He wants me to be Darth Revan again. Serve him as I did centuries ago. He made me a Sith Lord and named me Darth Revan.
The Force does not control you. You saved Ugandi using something you thought was important. But your motives are still aligned with the Jedi Code.
To arms, men! Defend the throne!
Anakin Skywalker was weak. I destroyed him. He was weak and foolish like his father. So I destroyed him.
Master Windu, you have fought gallantly. Worthy of recognition in the archives of the Jedi. It is finished.
To them it is.
I have been waiting for you. Is it true that he is the chosen one?
Hey guys, and welcome back to State of the Galaxy episode. I'm not sure because I don't know if I'll be
Just call it episode 7.
episode 7. No, it'll be episode 8 because
Episode 8, eh?
that's what we're talking about. So, Harrison, how many times have you seen Star Wars Episode 8?
Just the one so far.
I've seen it 3 times, and I still don't know what to think.
As long as you don't see it 8 times, it will be okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be seeing it 8 times, although I didn't think I'll be seeing it 3 times before the new year, so there's that. But I suppose, originally I wanted to run through this podcast, going through like we did with the Spoilercast from start to finish, but I feel like we should just really dig into our stuff that we liked and didn't like. I think first of all we should go into the stuff that we like, because I feel like this podcast is going to go on a long time if we start off with the stuff I don't like, or we don't like. So let's start off with you, Harrison, because you have a far kind of fairer balance of what this film was.
There must always be balance.
There must always be balance. I didn't really mind the kind of depiction we got of that, like life, death and decay that then feeds new life. That was alright. But it felt like a David Attenborough documentary.
Yes, we got the life from the death of the Force.
And now we've got the weird crocodile thing that we never see any more of. Anyway, but
I digress.
So I should probably start this off, and I'm going to ask everyone when we do our little spoiler cast, favourite scene.
It's a hard one because I don't know. I think the scene with the walkers just shooting the crap out of that one piece of poor little bit of dirt.
Poor
that was an awesome scene.
Poor Lelouch. So my favourite scene, I've got 2, would either be the Praetorian Guard battle. Despite the fact that we don't really know much about the Praetorian Guards, we wanted them to put up more of a fight than they did.
They're like,
And the other one would be the hyperspace jump that Holdo did. That was insane.
That was very, very clever scene.
And no music. It was beautiful. It looked very nice.
It was like a battering ram, wasn't it? Really, it was just like boom, and then she just.
It was almost like a ping pong. I'm very tempted to take that shot and do like the ching 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 ching.
The spring load thing. Is
yeah. But yeah, so those were my 2 favourite scenes. But I don't want to dive into the stuff that we hated too much. But who's your favourite character of Star Wars Episode 8? But let's, if we can, avoid the current characters. So let's avoid the original lot, and then Finn, Poe, and Rey.
I don't know. As side characters, I'm not sure, but I did quite enjoy Poe Dameron's character in the film.
Yeah, I mean he was a bit more fleshed out.
Captain Poe Dameron.
Captain Poe Dameron, but then was demoted.
Well, he was a commander first, wasn't it? So
Okay, so that was his demotion to captain.
Slightly lower.
But yeah, so I agree with you. I kind of liked what they did with Poe Dameron, but again, he was another Marisu where he just could do everything and was entirely indestructible. And Rey really was Marisu just throughout the entire film, but we won't fix it.
They won't kill the new main characters, but they may kill some of the older ones.
Yeah, they may do, and I suppose we should go into that. I don't want to go into whether this was good or bad yet, but let's just say, so they killed off Luke.
Killed off Luke in a sucky way.
They killed. I didn't actually mind it.
Oh.
When I first saw it, I was like, I have lost it now. I'm now a Trekkie, and I'm throwing out everything. But upon second or third viewing, especially because I predicted part of it in my league with the binary sunset and things like that, I thought that was the perfect way for Luke to go out.
Oh, yeah.
To see the very thing that kind of started off his journey at the very end, I loved that. I didn't like the circumstances around his death, but I loved the way that he went out.
Oh, I can't figure out how he died. Was it like a severe overuse of the Force?
It was probably a severe overuse of the Force, which we've never seen before, to be fair. We've seen dark side degradation, but we've never seen just a pure kind of like immerse in the Force. But something else that I wanted to bring up was that this actually dips into old canon, and forgive me that I'm wrong, feel free to comment. But apparently in original canon, Luke could actually transform the physical plane and become a Force spirit within combat.
Okay.
Which was kind of what happened there.
Kind of.
You kind of had without the glowy hue around him, he had exactly the same thing as a Force Ghost did, but he could integrate with... Because even with the original trilogy, the Force Ghosts could interact with the environment, because remember when Obi-Wan was saying, oh, okay, everything I told you was true, but from a certain point of view, he's actually sitting on a log. So he can interact with stuff, but that's a bit of a sidetrack. So I didn't really mind what they...
Lego Star Wars, the Force Ghost character.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, original Lego Star Wars.
Original Lego Star Wars. Who knows? Maybe you'll see me do a playthrough of that. But that's another thing for another day. So, I mean, what did you like in terms of the direction that they took the film? Because where we were left with episode 7, the Resistance had just blown up Starkiller Base. They got back and they were like, right, okay, we're going to send off Rey and Chewie, and they're going to find Luke and they're going to bring him back to help the Resistance. That's exactly how it was.
It's like and by the end of it, it's like, oh, let's restart the rebellion in the middle of a trilogy. In the middle of a trilogy.
But in terms of the stuff that you like, their creative decisions in what stories they did.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see the Millennium Falcon back in action again. It was always a good one.
Is that necessarily a story, or is that now they've used a fancy
cool
prop?
thing. Like,
They've used a fancy prop.
Millennium Falcon with a cool space character.
Maybe to help this along a bit, I might bring up my favourite one, and it's one that people have been hating on, strangely enough, the most, was the Finn and Rose storyline.
Yeah.
I did not care for DJ at all. I thought he was just there just to basically free them from the prison, have a few annoying lines, throw off Finn's beliefs just a little bit, but then we never see that for the rest of the film, and then get them caught, which they could have caught perfectly well without him.
I mean, shout out to Benicio del Toro if you're watching. Your character was fine. It just wasn't necessary.
Yeah. And it would have been better had it had like a Lando spin, but it didn't. It was just traitor scum.
Just a rogue, like, oh, I'm going to do this and steal this fancy spaceship, and then have loads of money in it. That's cool.
But I really loved all the stuff that they did with the casino. So much so that I'm actually considering buying the casino novel that they've already released. Can't remember what it's called. Something Bite. I know it's the name of the planet. I can't remember the name of the planet. But Canabite. I think that might actually be it. And then the Father Years, I loved all of that.
Yeah,
I have theories about the Father Years that they're semi-force sensitive, because when Finn says we need to find cover while they're running, the Father Year actually listens to him and then darts down a corridor. Despite the fact that he's only interacted with these children that speak clearly a different language. And also when Rose and Finn have reached that point where they've kind of accepted that they might die, and it's like, well, it was good that we were able to hurt them a little bit. Referring to the casino and the town, the father comes up and looks in despair because he's kind of sharing their feelings. I don't know what you think about that, but I feel like the father is a semi-force sensitive. That they're because we've already had animals that connect to the force. We've had like the Lothal wolves, I think, and I can't remember the name of the owls, but the owls from Clone Wars and Rebels, they're meant to reflect the Force in some way, but we're still yet to know more about that. Well, as far as I'm aware, I haven't watched season 4 yet, but that's other stuff. So yeah, I really loved the stuff they did with the animals, and I really, really loved all the stuff that they did with this casino, despite the fact that it was you look at the scene as it stands alone, especially, well, I did at least, when to start off with, and it's like, yeah, I love all the stuff they did. But then if you're looking at, and to reference the very name of our show, the state of the galaxy, at the moment, there you go. We never really talk about that, do we? We never really round off an episode with like, this is how the state of the galaxy is right now.
Yeah, we never really talk about the
maybe
galaxy
maybe we should do that, seeing as that is the name of our show. Well, it's in very Alex fashion, isn't it, to divert from the original plot. But yeah, so when I was looking at it again, I suddenly realised, wait, so the Resistance are in very, very crucial point. Yeah. Their ship is being blasted by heavy cannons. Their cruisers are giving out, and one by one their medical frigates gone, and slowly people are dying. And we've got this pointless banter between, well, not pointless, but pointless in the grand scheme of things. We don't need Finn to sympathise with the Farthiers right now. Please do it at a different time, but right now people are dying. Please, we need to focus this, because it did feel like he completely forgot about the fleet.
And you sort of think, oh my god, there might be a whole nother rebel fleet just pop out at the end and win. When you sort of think, oh, they're getting our signal, but no one's coming back. It's like, oh, cool. This is but a ruse, and loads of ships are going to come and destroy the Imperial fleet that's in orbit.
Nope, nothing.
Bit of a letdown for that part. I was expecting some cool Rebel X-Wing stuff, like, who doesn't like an X-Wing TIE Fighter space dog battle? Like, that's always cool.
And we kind of got that, but once again, Poe Dameron was going insane, brilliant pilot, brilliant at everything. Where he was able to take out. I can kind of understand what they did with the turrets, because that was the problem that they faced on the first Death Star, where the fighters were too small to hit. That's why Vader had to go out with his 2 TIE escorts. Yeah. Well, part of the reason anyway. But with this, there's like an entire squad of TIE fighters, and they still don't get him.
And it's like, he was able to destroy all them gun turrets by himself.
Yeah.
And then, oh no, the TIE fighters come out, and that ended plot number 1. Like, all the rebel stuff got blown up.
Yeah.
All that kind of disappointment and letdown, like, makes no sense to me.
I was really sad to see the girl that piloted the A-Wing go, because like she had that kind of connection with her father. I think her father was flying an X-Wing or whatever, and she just seemed really cool. I don't even know what her name was, but good on you. Yeah, I liked you.
Good on you. You done good.
I also really liked Paige's appearance, who's Rose's sister. Yeah. That was really cool.
That was very clever.
I feel like the sister necklace thing was really fixated on quite a lot, because nearly at every single dire moment, there's Rose clutching the necklace and just thinking, okay.
No, not every moment. She didn't clutch it near the end when she nearly got evaporated.
No, but she did just before.
Yeah, but
like on their approach to the mini Death Star, she was clutching it. But I suppose we're kind of nitpicking at this. We really need to dive into
one part. I need to nitpick.
Go for it.
Oh, I need to borrow your necklace. I need your necklace, otherwise I can't do it. Slots it in one little thing. Door opens.
It's like the most conductive material. So what, you've got like this, you've got like an arm band or whatever that has keys for a ship that you've never piloted before.
Them, watch codes. The codes loads of watches, and like, what do I watch?
It was exactly like that, but he had like every key but the key to do this. But it was like, he'd already said that him and the First Order tech go way back. So why wouldn't he have tech?
Or no stuff. Like, a bit of experience.
But apparently... And you could obviously see he was stalling because...
And he was conveniently shaped moon necklace to plug into connected 2 little dots. Boom, conductor.
Because when the stormtroopers were coming along, he kind of froze up and he was like, it's now or never. And he was like, now. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Okay, so that's us kind of nitpicking at it. Yeah, and I feel like I really want to go into some last bits that I really, really liked. I really liked the... and once again, this film, like Episode 7, but more so than Episode 7, it expanded on the lore. And that's the only justification I could see for this film. I've now got loads of new aliens and characters from Casino. I've now got the Jedi texts. I've now got the tree. I've now got all the animals that they've added. I've now got all the different planets they added. I've now got all the different ships. But I still don't care about all the stuff that happened in between.
A little nod back to Jackie.
Yeah.
Poor Ray.
Yeah.
That was a groundbreaking moment.
So I'm going to go into all the stuff that I liked before I go into all the stuff that I really didn't. I didn't mind what happened at the very beginning with Luke hurling the lightsaber over his shoulder, because I feel like we've waited 2 years to actually have him continue to say nothing was the right approach, because otherwise whatever he had said would not have been right. So that's fine. What I didn't like was just the continuous, back and forth, with him refusing to train Rey, and it was long and dragged out. But it wasn't until R2 showed the message, which I felt like a tear in my eye, because it was reminiscing of the old trilogy and good films. But
that was a clever way to make it think, oh, I'll actually help this.
But
guy.
there could have been so many other ways. Like they could have brought back Yoda and other Force ghosts,
like
and so
Obi-Wan.
and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and all that good stuff.
I think Obi-Wan may have had more of an impact on him actually, because he had more of a connection with Obi-Wan.
But Leia, I just don't know. So yeah, I really didn't mind that. Moving on from that, I loved Holdo, like I said already, and a conflict with Poe Dameron wasn't as off-putting as I thought it would be. So that's fine. Love that. That's all good. I loved Leia and Holdo's relationship, and now I actually want to read into that because I know there is a book that exists. So I'm going to read into that.
Yeah, it'd be a nice expansion on the rebellion.
I feel like they needed to show us, though, in the film, because it's like, why are these two people so... they're like old sisters.
Yeah, so suddenly, though, Holdo's never mentioned before.
Yeah, and now they're like saying goodbye in like the most epic way ever.
May the Force be with you.
And we still, apart from... That's the thing that these films confuse me with, because with The Force Awakens, they never reference really back to old material outside of the films, apart from the stuff in the original trilogy. So no one has to physically go out and read stuff. But now we really need to go out and read stuff to be able to understand just why this matters.
I feel like the rebellion is never fluffed out. Like it's like, oh, we're a rebellion, we're trying to take out the Empire. That's all you ever need to know.
Yeah.
There's so much background on the rebellion, like big space battles or big ground battles. The beginning of the rebellion, they start off so small, and then there's loads of them. Then there's barely any. Like the in-between gaps of what's happened between the films would be great to hear about. How did they get their fleet? Where did they get all the materials from? All the guns, and how did they get an increase in soldiers? Did they ever put out spies and like information and stuff and sort of things like that? You know.
One other thing that I'd love for them to explain, which hopefully would have fluffed out a bit more as well, was how they tracked the rebellion back to their base. Because that's never explained. It actually says it in the credit roll. They found them. It's like, how? But it would be different if, because I don't know whether you knew this, but in episode 7 there's a deleted scene when, after they've landed the Falcon on Starkiller Base, Kylo Ren actually goes aboard and then has like this kind of weird conflict thing. If he'd installed a tracker... So you remember to put the tracker on the Millennium Falcon when it left Starkiller Base. Oh yeah, so that's how we found the base. That was all we needed.
We sort of intercepted the rebel fleet and actually subtly let them go.
Yeah, or just something.
And then followed it. Like,
but they just turn up. And it's like,
there was no ion cannon on the rebel base floor to shoot into space. That would have been great homage to like
Episode 5. But I think they didn't want to do that, despite the fact that we still had quite a lot of homage to Episode 5.
Yeah.
But, okay, so we're really getting off track. We always dive into stuff we hate more than stuff that we like. No, I'm good, thanks. So where was I? So, yeah, stuff with Luke, stuff with Holdo, that's all good. Stuff with Leia and Holdo. I didn't mind showing Luke's day-to-day stuff, despite the fact that the first thing we saw him do was, like, fan fiction awful hentai. I don't want to dive straight into that and just make that connection, but it was weird. Especially because Rey was laughing at him while he was doing it, and then when the thing looked at her, it was just like, okay, this is really awkward now. If it wasn't awkward before, it's awkward now. So I enjoyed the expansion of that. I love the Porgs, but I think that's a personal thing, so I'm not going to fixate on that at all.
He walks all the way. He walks all the way.
I really didn't mind Kylo Ren's expansion. The little that we got made him less whiny. And the point that I heard on one of my favourite American podcasts was that the freak out in the elevator was the first legitimate one. Yeah. Where we feel that this was actually justified.
Not like a teenager not like a baby throwing a
this
toys
guy,
out its pram.
Snoke had literally said, I was disappointed in you, and everything that you've done as leading up to this point that you thought was good is utter failure. Yeah. So his freak out in the elevator, perfectly legit.
Not like Force Awakens. Oh no, she got away. Let's
slash consoles or chairs and just scare poor stormtroopers.
That was cool. Like, you don't need a lightsaber to have a good time.
No, in an elevator, exactly. it was good. And especially because when the doors open, it wasn't Kylo Ren still kind of like in cold sweat. He was actually kind of composed. And he was ready to get on with whatever had to happen next. So I was like, yes, this is more like it. This is less a prequel Anakin Skywalker, more leading up to kind of Vader.
And there was a bit of development, like obviously he got slashed in the face and a couple of lightsaber cuts.
Yeah.
He seemed to still feel a bit of pain from that. It was quite interesting as a way.
It was cool. So that when Snoke made the connection with Rey, when Rey fired her blaster when she saw Kylo, that then kind of reflected on how he was hit by Chewie's bowcaster. Mm-hmm. So much so they actually flinched and felt where that hit.
Drop of blood moment, didn't it? As well?
Yeah.
That's clever.
So,
although from a laser blast, there should be no drops of blood because
it cauterizes
it straight away. But
yeah, I mean, but like with lightsabers and blasters, they cauterize when they want to. But that's a movie problem.
1 in 7 chance of this happening.
Yeah, that's a movie problem rather than an actual prop problem. But anyway, so I really enjoyed how Kylo Ren was fleshed out. That was really cool.
There's the soon-to-be meme of his abs.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I really do feel like that was just fan service.
Let's show off this guy's abs.
Yeah, let's do this. Despite the fact that he's not even all that, but that's fine. So we had that, and I'm really struggling. I'm really trying to pull at strings here.
I liked the Force connection from him and Rey. That was really clever.
Yeah, I loved how the music stopped, and it had that kind of like train racing towards the edge of the tunnel sound, and then there was just nothing, and then you had like the echo of the voice.
How Luke eventually knew.
Yeah.
And Snoke actually was setting it up, basically, which I still can't figure out why he would set that up and how he could do it across such a distance.
I did wonder that, but then I asked someone, and they said it was so that Rey would be in the throne room in the first place, because that's the whole reason why she's there. The connection's being made. She thinks that Kylo can be saved. She goes to find Kylo, then she gets taken to the throne room. Please forgive me if there's more in between that, but that's what I got from it.
Oh no, another time I get cuffed.
Yeah.
This happens way too much.
Yeah. So that's probably the reason why. I loved Andy Serkis's performance as Snoke.
Great as ever.
Those monologues were fantastic. The fact that when Rey takes Kylo's saber and runs towards him, and all he needs to do is just do like a little direction with his finger, and she's back again. That's fantastic. I love how powerful he is. I love everything that he says. I love all the little hints at his lore. Like he's got some navigators standing next to him. Apparently, they mean a lot.
Some sort of wind, like them little devices they've got look like lenses, so you can sort of see.
Yeah, they're kind of
screen or something.
What were they reminiscent of? Like Harry Potter with the viewing pool and things like that. So I really love that. Or a series of unfortunate events with the magnifying glass. That was really cool. But yeah, I really loved everything with Snoke, despite the fact that he was the character I pretty hated the most from The Force Awakens.
I don't know what happened to his face, but one side of it looked like it'd been caved in.
Yeah, we still don't know what his afflictions are due to.
We'll have no trouble here.
So we should probably hurry up because we're getting to the end of this podcast. But so I don't know whether you want to add any more that you liked.
How much would you rate it out of 10? Pick us a good number, like.
Okay, so.
Fairly in the middle, low number, high number.
So. I'm at a split roads at the moment. I think most people are, because I'm mindful that Ryan Johnson apparently, I'm only taking this from information I've been told, that he is a master of misleading people, and once there's another story that he does, or at the end of whichever film it is, he then does this massive reveal. It all makes sense, despite the fact that it's just been leading to these really weird places all the way through. If it does that in episode 9, despite the fact that it's been directed by someone else, I will love this film, and it will be up there with Jedi. But if it doesn't, and this is all we have, and then it goes into like Poe Dameron's weird childhood backstory or something like that, which we don't care, it will be down there with Phantom Menace. So I like right now, I'm hoping, I'm going to go with my hopes, obviously, that it's going to be good. So I'm going to say it would be, it probably would be an 8 actually.
That's right.
as it is. How about you?
7. I think as well, a solid 8.
Yeah.
It was really good, and I really liked it, but it doesn't beat Rogue One for me. And
No.
a lot of people say, "Oh, Rogue One, what a crap film! It is irrelevant to Star Wars." No, it wasn't.
No, it was
a
very
good beginning.
It was a very good beginning because we did care. Because if we didn't care, then why would original canon exist as to how those plans were stolen? No, they wouldn't.
Oh,
So-
okay, Scarif base.
So
RIP.
yeah, so that's very relevant why that exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I also want to go into something very quickly. I know there's probably a lot that we left out, but hopefully we'll be doing more spoiler casts as the days turn into months. Snoke, he is not dead.
No.
My theory is very strong that he's not dead, and I'm going to go through the reasons why I
It
believe
just seems
this.
too easy.
It's exactly.
It's a
That's
big
one of my
build-up
that's
bad
one of my
guy.
points.
Oh, he's so
He
bad.
has like 10 minutes of screen time, but it is almost the forefront of this film, and he's the leader of the First Order, and to have him then just killed like that, it seems way too
I
easy.
feel like he's a bit of a Phantom Menace. They build him up really cool, and then no impact on anything. Cut in half. Another guy that gets cut in half.
Yeah, but he also loses his hands as well.
That's
So yeah, I that's one of my points. But my main 2 points would be that when the film's wrapping up and they've escaped the base and Kylo goes into the base, there's another moment where they have a Force connection. Now, who was the one who established the Force connection in the first place? It was Snoke. So the only reason, I mean, your theory was that the Force is able to sustain this, and it's just it kind of doing that. But Snoke set this up for a reason. The Force wouldn't sustain that. It would just let them both go. Perhaps there'd be connections anyway because they're the two main Force presences.
But search your feelings.
I don't feel like the Force would do that. In that moment, it didn't make any sense. So that's my first one. The second one was that in episode 7, when we only saw holograms of Snoke, he seemed way more decrepit. His voice was almost slurred. It was so slow, and his scars were more prominent. In this, he is, I'm going to say, more lively, despite the fact that he still struggles to get out from his
Still seems
chair.
like he's dead.
His speech is way more fluent. And he just seems healthier.
He seems more force powerful as well.
Yeah, despite the fact that we don't really get to see his Force power in episode 7, he just seems more fleshed out as a character, and he seems more alive. And I feel like that we're going to get another kind of Force vision thing where when Luke did the Force vision, he was younger because it's probably how Kylo expected to see him.
He may still even be in the films. He may be like a sort of flashback that haunts Kylo Ren.
Perhaps,
through his poor experiences with the Sith.
Yeah, but
Or,
I
speech marks here, Sith.
I do legit. I don't want to sound like a 7-year-old, but I do legit feel that
You got legit feels.
that Snoke isn't dead for that reason.
Oh yeah, it just seems so simple though. Like Kylo Ren is not big enough of a character
No.
to be this supreme leader.
There was a couple of other reasons. I forget what the.
The ring.
There we go, the ring. So there's something that the visual guide's fixated on is the ring that he has on his left hand, which is a ring that was apparently harvested underneath Darth Vader's castle that we see on Mustafar in Rogue One. My theory at the moment not really fleshed out because I want to do more research into this, so please don't take this as my last thoughts. But I feel like
last thoughts,
new first thoughts. I feel like that this could be even all the way down to kind of like a Horcrux, where he is able to. This gem is clearly powerful. The dark side, the cave underneath Vader's temple, castle is where he constructed his first lightsaber, if memory serves, or at least
Yeah, he
corrupted
did.
the crystal.
His first dark side lightsaber.
So there's a lot of darkness down there because apparently when he did that, like the hieroglyphs on the wall lit up and stuff like that. So there's a lot of darkness down there. So he would be able to utilize that in my version of the canon,
Well, yeah,
and he would be able to transform, if not some of his teachings, his spirit into it, very much like a Sith holocron, like we get to see with Darth Bane in the unfinished season 6 of Clone Wars. So maybe that's a way of doing it, and I don't know whether I'd like this, but I feel like this was the only way to bring Hux back. What if Hux is the new host?
what if they sort of corrupt Kylo Ren and put in him a new young body, which is okay.
But
He's got a couple of nasty lightsaber scars, but he's a perfectly healthy person. Hux is quite old and he's ginger, so why would you do that? Just that in itself would be rather embarrassing.
He's not all that old though.
Hey, but he looks like 40s sort of age. You'd want someone, first of all, as well, who's full sensitive. If you're going to be like, I'm going to take over and have a new reign for the Sith.
Yeah, but then we're going into more complicated lore where we're saying if you were a Force spirit and you went into someone who was not Force sensitive, would you then be able to use the Force?
Well, I suppose it's never really been done, so...
No. Well, that's not entirely true, actually, because they did it in the original lore with Palpatine.
Yeah,
So-
Palpy.
So I've got to look more into that with Dark Empire and stuff like that. But we'll save that to another day. I don't know how we're doing on time. Oh, wow. We're actually 30 minutes and 7 seconds in. We're over there. So we're going to wrap this up because I'm sure there's more stuff that we want to go into.
I think we've got to have a couple of weeks.
I didn't
to
actually really
research
go
as
into
well.
my bad side,
No.
did I?
I
So
think
maybe
we've
I
got
should
to
leave that.
research some of these potential things we're having.
Yeah.
Like Sith ghost possession and like...
Yeah. I mean, something that I'm happy to announce is that in the new year, I'm actually going to be doing informative videos. So you remember, like I did with my pink lightsaber, I did the first part of Darth Revan. I'm going to be doing stuff like that, but more fleshed out. Which means that I get to do writing music, which I love to do. So
He's now no longer doing that part alone either.
there we go. So I mean, I'm happy, Harrison, for you to actually lead that kind of thing
Yeah,
if
why
you
not?
want, and
Yeah,
to
go
actually
for
just
some
read
bits.
out scripts and just go through it. It won't be like a podcast. It will be like we're reading our own version of Wikipedia where we're.
As long as I can say "Oh God, once or twice. It'll be okay.
So we'll hopefully dive into more of that. But one thing I want to wrap up with, and like I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's a real shame that we haven't actually been doing this from the very start, is where does this lead the galaxy?
Well, the galaxy is a very sad place at the
It
moment.
is. It's very unsure. I mean, we've got so this is where rebellions start or whatever on the Millennium Falcon with the remaining members of that particular
Rebellion's
resistance.
built on hope, sort of thing. Yeah.
The weird thing with the children, which I'm not going to go into too much, and then the First Order is still at power. Like they haven't really lost anything.
No, it's kind of like the rebellion is one candle, the First Order is the sun.
Yeah,
That's kind of the comparison here. It's like
it is pretty much,
a solar stellar body,
and that's-
compared to a little match.
and that's something that I really hated with the text scroll at the beginning of Star Wars Episode 8. They didn't mention Star Killer Base once.
No,
That should have been a
it was-
real loss for
It was
them.
actually quite short.
And
Like,
and they were like, oh no, so we've got 3 or 4 Star Destroyers, and then the super equivalent, the
the
Dreadnought,
Juggernaut and the Dreadnought and stuff.
and
yeah.
then
the whole
Snoke's personal.
It's a fleet killer gets killed
Yeah.
by about 4 bombers.
So
Fleet killing.
so yeah, so at the moment it looks like the Resistance is no better off than they were at the beginning
The
of the film.
galaxy is in dire straits, my friend.
It is, but they're still hoping. Obviously, they hint at that with the kids, although I still don't know how to feel. And Rey now has no saber, but there's been a talk at work about her now because she's now snapped the lightsaber in half, that she's now going to put that into a saber staff. But that's not how kyber crystals work. You can't just take a kyber crystal, cut it in half, and make 2 sabers.
No,
That's
I
not
think-
how it works.
I think she will have to craft her own lightsaber eventually.
She probably will, yes, but she can use a synthetic crystal very much
And
like Luke did.
She has the Sith she has the Jedi text.
Yeah,
So
yes,
could
she
use that.
does. So the state of the galaxy is very unsure, but they have everything that they need in order to rebuild. The question is
Rebellion
whether they'll
is
get.
built on hope.
The question is whether they'll get to that point. But so let's round up. So whether you are Jedi or Sith, CIS or Republic, Resistance or First Order. Have I missed any out?
Rebel scum or empire.
There we go.
Rebel scum.
Or the Mandalorians, because I always leave them out.
Or the Vong Sun clan.
Yeah, sure, why not? I have no idea. May the Force be with you and have a very good day.